Hello there. My name is Archer, and this is my survival world. I posted a video about this on Reddit the other day, sort of just a cinematic fly through, and the overwhelming response was asking for a more in depth tour. So I guess that's what we're here to do today. I figured that I wanted to start sort of at the beginning, sort of where the base started. I will warn that this part that we're going to isn't the best build. It was, very limited resources, very limited creativity. You know how it is. But, yeah, as I was scrolling through the comments and questions and everything on the Reddit page, I realized that this base is coming up on a year's worth of time spent in it. Throughout that year's worth of time, I've allotted what I believe to be, I think it was 23.9 days worth of playtime, and I've broken a lot of blocks. But that's not really what we're here for. We're mainly here to talk about the build itself. So, right here, this is where it all started. Right here on the inside of what I call St. Armand's Cathedral. Soon to be reworked and renovated. This was kind of just a prototype for me to house the nether portal to go into the underside of the nether, or not the underside, the overworld part of the nether, the not roof. I mean the not roof. That's what I'm talking about here. But so this was the first real non my base build that happened around here. So I'm not really gonna spend a ton of time on it just because it's barren, it's kind of empty, and it's going to get torn down soon anyway, so it won't really be here in many future videos. What really caught the attention of people on Reddit was mainly this section. I got bored, and on a couple days after my birthday, I decided to start building a city, because it just seemed like fun. I started streaming when I built this first part, but yeah, I'm just going to kind of walk through what I've done of the city so far, and I mentioned in that Reddit post that this base is nowhere near finished. This city is still very in progress. I'm still pretty deep into the design process of it, and so for the buildings that are incomplete or non-interiored, which is every one of them, do pardon my bluff, because it's something that I'll get to soon. This is the first building that I built in this city. I'm using it mainly for storage. I like it because I can fly directly in from wherever I'm flying from. The main idea of that will either be, I'm thinking either like a tavern or like some kind of general storage or something to be like when interioring time comes. When I was building this, I had the immediate idea of this selling like gems and ores and stuff because of the glass that goes down into this massive cave back here. But yeah, when this is finished, it will be like a gems and ores shack featuring a special piece of dirt from an Enderman. This is where my armory is gonna be. Backstory, right? This base did not used to be on a solo world. It beforehand was a server that was owned by a friend of mine, and that server, we had to take it down because it was too expensive to run and financial problems be how they are. But I got the world download and converted it into a solo world, and that's kind of how we're standing here today. But the original plan is that this was the armory for the entire server. I always had this dream of wanting to arm the entire server, for everybody to be kitted out in netherite armor that I made and I enchanted and everything. But this was where it was going to be. As you can see, sadly, it didn't get to live up to the full glory, but I do definitely have one sword here at least. I don't use this one because fire aspect on zombies is annoying because it sets me on fire too. I decided against it then. So for this building, I was planning like potions or something. Like, it's a really obscure looking building, and I really like that it has this inner access to this underground area that I'll be doing something with in the future too. I built this entire city on artificial artificial foundations, so there's this whole network of just caves that go underneath it. Eventually, when I get past the whole like finishing the main part of the city and interioring and everything, I wanna do a build down there that sort of highlights underground life or something like that. Right here, I was thinking this was like a, for some reason I was getting like a loom seamstress kind of idea. I wanted to build like this be where banners and stuff would be made. It just for some reason gives off the vibe to me. These three I haven't really chosen, but because they're so close to a dock, I'm thinking they'll have something to do with either fishing or shipping. This one I was definitely looking for more of a lighthouse-esque idea with. I kind of wanted the idea of a tall tower being enough to draw ships in from the ocean, but after building it, I kind of looked back and realized that there's a tree that can do that for me. We'll get to the tree soon. We're kind of just exploring the city right now. So this is like the main street that I wanted to build that would connect the seafront district to the to like the back section of the base where like the bigger homes and the higher class people would be, I guess is how I would say it. I wanted this to be like a like very, I wanted to have like a really like class divided narrative. It just, because that's where really good stories come from. I don't know. But up here, I had this idea of playing around with, I thought that was a zombie there, playing around with sightlines. I had watched a couple of YouTube videos on designing cities, and this was my first time taking a crack at changing around and not going with the grid style that I was thinking about. Coming up to this section right here, this is unfinished obviously, but there's a little road that jumps up to it here. This is going to be a big temple that will sort of connect the city to the main base. Because this whole thing has been a pleasure build. It's just been like, okay, I'm set, I have my home, I'm comfortable, now I'm going to start building other things. But this is going to be sort of my transitionary piece that is within the city. We'll get over to the big square later. There's a whole story behind it. So like I said, this whole thing's going to be turned into a temple soon. So I've got this the beginning of this glass dome that I know it's not circular, but it is what it is, and it kind of does the job how I want it to be, at least. I'll fix it later. That's what I'll say about it. It's not what I'm like happy about yet. So the speaking of the transitionary pieces between the city and the base, I wanted to now move back to the front square of the city and show off my favorite part of the base. This was one of the earlier builds that I had done because there was a dilemma, right? I needed a lot of my stuff, a lot of my base and everything was over here where the nether portal was. And so at the time I was using this really long hallway to go, like, that goes all the way through this huge cave after I discovered it. And yeah, it was great. It worked well, but I figured that there might be a more elegant way to do so. And so instead of like improving my pathway that went through, I decided to change it up and go over the top. I love this staircase because of the view of the tree. The tree is, I want to say, let's see, how many pieces of sap, or of, it's 28,000 leaves so far, and about, I'll split that 50-50, I'll give it about 20,000 wood, something like that. Coming back to the tree, I had to cut because I had to sneeze really bad. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing. I'm trying my best. The tree, I will divide the wood statistic. It's like 36k. I'll divide it like 20k for the tree, and then the other like 15k for the city, because the city is primarily wood. So this is my favorite part of the base so far. I call it Challenger's Rotunda. The idea that I had lore-wise for this was that the base is the Palace of Archangels, is what it's called. The Archangel's Palace. And the idea behind the city was that there was a group of scholars who were formerly nomadic, and having found the Palace of Archangels, laid their city at the foot of it so as to study angels up close. Now, the idea of the Challenger's Rotunda was that this was before the angels and humans came into contact, and when the Archangel's Palace was first being established, there had to be defenses. This was sort of like a place where if someone was trying to join or like come into the base, then they would be met here before making it into the actual base. Something in that area. I'm still working on this. So, we've been talking about it enough. I'm finally I've been rambling too much. Welcome to the Palace of Archangels. This is the beginning survival base. This was the first thing that I built out of the entire everything that you're seeing in this video. It's currently encased in this giant dirt structure. This is a handmade mountain that I've just recently. I'm not 100% finished working on it yet, but when I do, there will be more calcite building going around the outside, and I'm hoping to do like big stalagmites and everything from the inside, and I think it's going to be incredible when it's finished. But right now we've got what we've got. The big circle that I was standing at earlier opens up to right there. That is called Dewey's Passage, named after a close friend of mine. I kind of included him in the lore of the base as the person who discovered the Palace of Archangels, and thus that passage was dug in his honor. I haven't yet done the decoration for it yet. I've got a great plan for it, but I'm just recently getting into the gathering the resources for it, because stone has not been a very abundant resource. But yeah, so the palace has a couple different layers. There's the main layer that surprisingly isn't used for much anymore. I've moved most things down to the lower layer, which is the storage area slash smelter slash there's a big mine down there. The storage area is all this. I have a lot of items. This base comes with a very big wood tax for storage, the amount that I have to put into it. But I mean, I feel like this current storage room has worked really well. I know that in the future I'm gonna need to upgrade, but that is a problem for future me in a future YouTube video is how I'm gonna put that. So right below it, you see this little area here with the dragon head. I didn't know what to do with this down here, but this was an underwater cave that I cleared out and sponged. And so I kind of dug it to open up into the underwater section of the base, this is my bed right here. You can fly out of, it's got the little water gate there that you can fly out of. Then I have a second one over here in case I'm not like actually at the bed and I need somewhere to fly out of. The main floor of the base is not used for much. I used to, like, my old storage room is right in here. This is where I used to keep all of my items before I ran out of room in here, and I ended up moving everything, even though, you know, there's still stuff. I haven't siphoned through all of it yet. I had a little fun playing around with stained white glass. This was really cool. I wanted a centerpiece, and I had some leftover white glass, and I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. But this other section over here used to be a storage room as well. I haven't done much interior on my own base yet. Just because I'm focused on other things, bigger projects. This staircase actually goes up to the roof, and the section that I've started the walls on but haven't like done anything with yet. But this starts into the pathway that goes along the outside. I found that me using an elytra to get around back when the base was on a server wasn't fair to the people who didn't have an elytra. So I made this pathway as an easy way to get around the base without flying. This tower has a purpose, actually. I built it specifically to connect to the upper part of the base, which I was gonna put stairs there, but the logistic thing got in the way, and executive dysfunction said, nah, you can just fly in. But there's a water elevator here that goes up to a currently not so updated map of the base. You can see the sheer size of the mountain. You can I have these little banners that are named. So I have the Archangel's Palace there, and for some reason it says there are 2 people on this base. I think it's because there was another map that I had made. Then Challenger's Rotunda there, the Root of the Seraph, which is what I've named the tree. And then I need to update this because a lot of this section has been finished since then and everything, but that's yet again a problem for the next video. Also, all of this is a quarry and stuff now, but as I said, for the next video. This tower is named the Phantom Tower because while I was building it, a phantom got stuck in it. I named him Danny and he died, so he was stuck right up there. I have a funny screenshot of it, I think, but yeah, Danny the Phantom passed away in there, so we named it after him to commemorate him. This is one of my favorite sections of the base, like the actual base. This is where I come to have little like sessions, or just where I come to hang out when I don't know what else to do. I just sit here and just kind of think. I tried to make a nice little sideline for myself so that I have somewhere to really be quiet and just think about stuff. Up there, that is the BUSSIB, the Bussy Bee, also known as the big ugly sugarcane slapping idiot box. It's an auto sugarcane farm. I mentioned in the Reddit post that I started the prompt for this video, that I don't like automating things because to me gathering resources is a very it's a relaxing task. But sugarcane is not one of those resources, so I have this one automated to be I have sugarcane and gunpowder automated because of rockets. Like those are my two big automated pieces. Later on, if I do keep making videos on this base, I'm gonna probably take the time out of one video to make a creeper farm, like a better creeper farm than the one that I have now. Because while it's good, it's not very efficient, and I usually leave it on while I go to work. This is the automatic fishing, or the auto fisher, I mean. I'm proud of this design. I really am. Like it's one of the cooler things that I designed, and it was where it was where I was starting to pick up in like actually designing things. Like this tower down here was probably the most well-designed thing out of this entire part of the base, if you ask me. But this was where I was really starting to pick up on, oh yeah, I can use different things. I can use slabs, I can use stairs, I can use glass and all that kind of stuff. But I put a tutorial up here because, you know, like I said, this used to be on a server and people used to come around. But wow. Yeah, this is most of the Palace of Archangels. Most of the base. There's not really too much to see in it. Yeah, this has been my home for the last year or so. This little corridor over here, I'm turning into a library. This is where I used to have enchanting, but well, I still have it here, but I have a better enchanting table down in the bottom part of the base, if you saw. But eventually I'll get around to repurposing all of this. It's just right now I've got so many projects on the hand right now that I don't really care about that yet. Dewey's Passage. Ow. I forgot that I built the glass in the middle. Dewey's Passage was dug for multiple reasons. Mainly when I was building the mountain, I was starting to think about how there's not a lot of ways to fly out of my base with the mountain in the way. So I built this as a pathway for me to fly up and out, and also as a path over to a potential city build over here and my mob farm. This is one of the many mob farms that I have on this base. It's just a zombie farm that I use to heal my tools while I'm working on big projects. I have an Enderman farm as well, but getting to the end via Elytra is just really tedious. So this pops us out into this cave. You see a lot of ice from Frostwalker boots from a friend of mine. But in the cave is one of the most absurd things that I've ever... Oh, I giggle every time I come in this thing, man. It is, that sounds so wrong. I get a huge smile on my face every time I walk inside of this thing. Just looking up at all of the wood that I've placed. The, like, let's see, how much wood we looking at? 36K, we said we would split that, like, what, 20K, something like that? Probably, I mean, I wouldn't say this is 20,000. This is definitely a lot of wood, but it's definitely not 20,000. But, God, this is the biggest project I've, like, one of the biggest, like, singular projects that I've done by myself in my life, and it was inspired by a friend. They kind of helped me get it started and then kind of left me to my own devices, and I treat it as sort of a proof to myself that I can do it, and it's nice. It's just kind of one of those special projects that you do just to prove it to yourself that you can. So that's the main base. All of that out there is that's going to be called Automation Row. This is where I'm planning on finally getting around to automating things. This is the creeper farm where I get all my my gunpowder. But that's mainly the base. There's not really too much else to show, and I'd be happy to go any deeper, but that's it mainly on the surface. As for plans that I have in the future, the first thing I'm going to do is gut this son of a bitch. I am going to rip this entire thing up and completely rebuild it, because I went on vacation to Rome not long ago and took great inspiration from St. Paul's Basilica, and I'm really thinking about putting a lot of design elements from that into there as sort of a keeping it to the cathedral theme, but making it something a little bit more special. Right over here to the outside, you can see that I have this calcite move, like this little calcite wall thing going alongside. This is the beginning of what I'm gonna make another district. I've started this big quarry here because I need a lot of stone for projects, but that is gonna be integral within the lore of this area. Mainly like gonna be a big export. I want to do like a harbor town with like boats and everything out here, and I'm really excited to show those off and make videos while I'm doing so. Well, anyway, that's about everything that I have to offer, about everything that I have to show from the Palace of Archangels so far. There's plenty of stuff that I'm planning on doing, and if I can help it, I want this to be a base that I spend 10 years on, not just one. But for those of you who have stuck around for the entire video, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope that this video has, if not made your day better, at least given you something to think about for the small amount of time we've been together. So, thank you so much for joining in, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.